The legend of Kuchisake Onna, the Slit-Mouthed Woman, is one of the most disturbing and fascinating stories in Japanese folklore. Its origins trace back to dark times when fear spread through alleys and villages like an echo of the unknown. This legend is not just a horror tale. It is a reflection of collective anxieties and cultural values that have evolved over centuries. In this video, we explore Kuchisake Onna through different lenses: historical, cultural, psychological, and artistic. From feudal Japan to the modern era, she survives as a testament to social and technological transformations. We'll also delve into the impact this legend has had on pop culture and how it continues to inspire storytellers worldwide. The approach here seeks to balance emotional storytelling with academic analysis, allowing you to understand not just the what, but also the why behind the enduring nature of Kuchisake Onna. The fear and fascination she evokes lie not just in her terrifying appearance, but in how she mirrors society's deepest shadows. Welcome to this journey between past and present, myth and reality. I invite you to subscribe to the channel and not miss any of the upcoming videos. If you enjoy this one, don't forget to leave a like and share your thoughts in the comments. Without further ado, prepare to meet Kuchisake Onna, but beware. She may ask a question only you can answer. The gentle autumn breeze of feudal Japan often carried with it tales of hauntings and mystery. In isolated villages where lanterns flickered in the dark, whispered narratives emerged about figures that transcended the human world. Kuchisake Onna was not just any yokai. She arose during a period of instability and transformation, when fear was a constant part of daily life. The legend is said to stem from primal human interactions: jealousy, betrayal, and desire. One of the most famous versions speaks of an incredibly beautiful woman, the wife of a samurai. Her vanity was unparalleled, drawing attention wherever she went. However, her beauty was not matched by loyalty. Upon discovering her infidelity, her husband unleashed his wrath. In an act of vengeance, the samurai disfigured her face, slashing her mouth from ear to ear while cruelly asking, "Now, who will say you are beautiful?" The woman died in pain and shame, but her soul lingered, trapped between the worlds of the living and the dead. Thus, Kuchisake Onna was born, a figure wandering the streets asking, "Am I beautiful?" where the answer determines the fate of those who encounter her. There are many variations of this story, each reflecting the anxieties of different eras. In some versions, she is an ordinary woman turned yokai due to a curse. In others, she was always a supernatural being, representing divine retribution against infidelity and cruelty. The legend gained popularity during the Edo period when popular literature and kabuki theater frequently explored themes of vengeance and redemption. The figure of the betrayed and disfigured woman fit perfectly into this narrative landscape. Moreover, the growing urbanization introduced a new kind of fear: the anonymity of cities and the dangers lurking in the shadows. Kuchisake Onna embodied the fear of the unknown, something lurking just out of sight, ready to punish those who strayed from societal norms. In an era where honor and appearance were paramount, her presence served as a grim reminder of the consequences of transgression. The first recorded appearance of Kuchisake Onna in written form dates back to the 17th century in a compendium of supernatural stories. However, the legend likely existed long before, passed down orally through generations. Stories of vengeful, disfigured, or ghostly women are common across cultures, but what makes Kuchisake Onna unique is her connection to Japan's social changes. In exploring the origins of the legend, we investigate its historical roots and cultural context, aiming not just to recount the story, but to understand why it gained such strength in the Japanese collective imagination. How does it reflect the values, fears, and aspirations of a society in constant flux? What does its persistence tell us about the power of storytelling? If you're curious, prepare to unravel the layers of this intriguing and chilling legend. The birth of Kuchisake Onna is not just the beginning of a horror story. It is the start of a journey into the heart of Japanese folklore and its complex relationship with the human condition. Behind every legend lies fragments of truth lost to time. The myth of Kuchisake Onna is no different. Despite her supernatural nature, the figure of the slit-mouthed woman may have originated from real events distorted over centuries. reflecting not only popular imagination, but also the historical and social conditions of feudal Japan. During a period marked by rigid social structures and an emphasis on honor, the role of women was ambiguous. On one hand, they were revered as bearers of family virtues. On the other, they were vulnerable to violence and oppression. Some historians speculate that Kuchisake Onna's origin might be tied to real women who suffered injustices, their voices silenced, leading to the creation of a supernatural avatar to express their pain. One frequently associated tale involves a courtesan during the Edo period. Known for her beauty and ability to captivate men, she was brutally attacked by a jealous client who, upon discovering she favored another, slashed her face in a fit of rage. While there are no official records confirming this event, oral accounts perpetuate it as a grim example of how gender-based violence permeated daily life. Moreover, corporal punishment for women accused of adultery lends credence to the legend's real roots. In some regions of feudal Japan, cutting a woman's face was a way to visibly mark her shame, turning her into a living warning for others. This type of punishment, though cruel, was legitimized by the social norms of the time and likely fueled the collective imagination that birthed Kuchisake Onna. Alternatively, some theories suggest the slit-mouthed woman figure was a tool for social control. During the Edo period, as Japan experienced significant urban population growth, authorities often relied on horror stories to discourage deviant behaviors. Women walking alone at night, for example, were viewed with suspicion, and the Kuchisake Onna legend might have served as a warning to uphold societal norms. The woman behind the legend is thus both a victim and a protagonist. While her figure haunts streets and alleys in popular imagination, she also bears the scars of a society that used fear as a tool of control. These historical and social contexts provide a bridge between fragments of reality and the supernatural echoes that persist today. There will always be a woman behind this legend. Her face, though disfigured, reveals not just a trait of the myth, but perhaps truth that cannot be ignored. Kuchisake Onna, more than just a yokai, is a legend deeply tied to the urban spaces where she manifests. While many Japanese supernatural tales are set in isolated forests, ancient temples, or remote villages, Kuchisake Onna stands out by inhabiting bustling streets, narrow alleys, and city backstreets. This unique setting is fundamental to the terror she evokes. Urbanization in Japan, particularly from the Meiji period onward, brought drastic changes to social structures and daily life. Cities became places of opportunity, but also of alienation and fear. Kuchisake Onna embodies these urban feelings: fear of the unknown in a crowd, vulnerability in dimly lit alleys, and the threat lurking around every corner. Her presence in urban spaces also reflects the evolving role of women in society. As women began occupying public spaces more prominently, especially in cities, the legend can be seen as an expression of tensions and anxieties surrounding these changes. A ghostly woman questioning passers-by, particularly men, about her beauty reverses traditional power dynamics, making the urban setting a stage for symbolic confrontations. Thus, the urban environment shapes and amplifies the terror associated with Kuchisake Onna. From the dark alleys of feudal Japan to modern streets, the legend adapts and evolves, but maintains its undeniable connection to the spaces it inhabits. Fear, after all, is as much about where we are as it is about what confronts us. At the heart of Japanese culture lies a rich tapestry of supernatural stories, populated by creatures known as yokai. These entities, which can be either benevolent or malevolent, play a crucial role in shaping Japan's cultural identity. Among these beings, Kuchisake Onna occupies a special place, challenging traditional categories and embodying unique elements that reflect the complexities of Japanese society. Yokai are not merely monsters, they are manifestations of emotions, beliefs, and natural phenomena that modern science often struggles to explain. Some yokai personify primal fears, while others serve as moral lessons or representations of natural forces. Kuchisake Onna, with her tragic and terrifying figure, exemplifies how yokai can be used to explore broader social and cultural issues. Yokai stories have roots in the Heian period, 794–1185, but it was during the Edo period that these creatures gained greater prominence. Detailed illustrations and popular tales brought these beings into the collective imagination. Yokai such as the Tengu, Kitsune, and Kappa became icons, each symbolizing specific aspects of Japanese life and beliefs. While Kuchisake Onna shares some traits with other yokai, she stands out for her origins deeply rooted in human interactions. While many yokai are associated with nature or spiritual forces, Kuchisake Onna manifests fears and anxieties arising from human relationships and societal pressures. The image of Kuchisake Onna is unforgettable. A woman with a mask covering her mouth, concealing a horrifying deformity. The simplicity of this image is what makes it so powerful and terrifying. Let us explore the symbolism behind the slit mouth and how this specific feature amplifies the psychological impact of the legend. Historically, facial mutilation has been used as an extreme form of punishment, a mark of shame, or a means of dehumanization. In the case of Kuchisake Onna, her slit mouth carries multiple meanings. On one hand, it is a visual reminder of the violence she suffered in life, representing personal trauma transformed into universal terror. On the other, the disfigurement serves as a metaphor for violating societal norms, a physical testament to the transgressions that led to her death. The mouth, as a symbol, also plays a significant role. It is through the mouth that we communicate, express emotions, and connect with others. By slashing her mouth, her attacker not only destroyed her beauty, but also silenced her voice, turning her into a specter doomed to repeat the same fatal question. Am I beautiful? At first glance, it may seem like a simple query, but it carries profound psychological weight. It is a direct challenge to societal beauty standards and a test of honesty. Answering yes or no forces one to either conform to societal rules or face the consequences of defying them. The mask that hides the horror of her mouth adds another layer of symbolism. It creates a false sense of normalcy, deceiving those who encounter her before revealing her true form. This duality reflects humanity's fear of the unknown and what lies beneath the surface. The figure of Kuchisake Onna evokes both individual and collective fears. For the individual, she represents the terror of an unexpected encounter with something that defies logic and threatens personal safety. For society, she is a reminder of the consequences of breaking norms and values, whether by the victim or the aggressor. This raises the question, how has this legend endured over time? Modernity has brought significant changes in how urban legends are perceived and spread, and Kuchisake Onna has found new ways to reinvent herself and connect with contemporary imagination. In the 1970s, the legend resurfaced intensely, fueled by reports of sightings that spread as collective panic. Children and teenagers shared scary stories in schools, and even the media capitalized on the phenomenon, mixing sensationalism with mystery. This period marked a revival of the myth, which also began reflecting the social anxieties of the time. With the advancement of communication media, Kuchisake Onna gained even more traction. Television, and later the internet, became crucial platforms for the legend's survival. TV shows dramatized fictional encounters with her figure, while online forums and blogs stoked public interest, providing details about her origins and imagining new settings for her sightings. This digital transition ensured Kuchisake Onna's relevance, reaching a global audience and transforming her into a cultural phenomenon. The cultural impact of Kuchisake Onna is also evident in the many reinterpretations she has received in recent decades. Films, anime, and manga have adapted her story, often incorporating modern elements or offering new perspectives on her origins. In some portrayals, she is depicted as a tragic victim whose actions stem from a history of suffering and injustice. In others, her image is used humorously or satirically, demonstrating the myth's flexibility in various contexts. This resurgence also mirrors societal changes, particularly in discussions of gender and violence. Kuchisake Onna is not just a figure of terror. She has become a symbol that raises questions about oppression, beauty standards, and the role of women in an ever-evolving culture. Her impact transcends immediate fear, inviting reflection on the underlying values and fears her legend evokes. Over time, Kuchisake Onna has maintained her relevance by adapting to new generations and technologies. Her presence in cinema, literature, and video games demonstrates her ability to evolve without losing the essence that makes her such a fascinating figure. This chapter explores how the myth has found new ways to exist in modernity, reaffirming that even the oldest stories can reinvent themselves to remain alive in popular imagination. The influence of Kuchisake Onna in cinema and literature reflects the power of her image and the universality of her themes. Since her rise to popularity in the 1970s, the figure of the Slit-Mouthed Woman has become a recurring presence in various works of fiction, exploring her potential as a terrifying character and as a symbol of pain and injustice. In cinema, Kuchisake Onna has found a prominent space in horror productions. Films such as Carved the Slit-Mouthed Woman, 2007, reimagined the legend in a contemporary context, adding layers of psychological complexity and exploring themes like abuse and vengeance. These adaptations not only captured the primal fear associated with the legend, but also used it as a lens to examine broader social issues. Other films approached the myth more experimentally, blending horror elements with critiques of modern society. In literature, Kuchisake Onna has also made her mark. Horror stories and novels often use her tale as a foundation for creating intense and unsettling narratives. Writers explore the duality between her terrifying figure and the tragedy she represents, frequently adding new details to her legend or recontextualizing her to reflect different times and cultures. Manga and light novels in particular have been powerful platforms for expanding her story, leveraging the visual medium to amplify her impact. The presence of Kuchisake Onna in popular media also highlights the myth's adaptability and transformative potential. In some stories, she is portrayed as a relentless antagonist, while in others, she gains more human traits, becoming a tragic or even sympathetic figure. This flexibility in representation demonstrates how the legend has transcended its origins to become a versatile narrative resource, resonating with diverse audiences. Over the decades, Kuchisake Onna has solidified her place as one of the most iconic figures in Japanese folklore within the world of entertainment. Her influence in cinema and literature has not only preserved her relevance but also continually reinvented her, ensuring that her story continues to be told in fresh and exciting ways. One of the main reasons stories like Kuchisake Onna endure is that humans love fear. The fascination with horror stories is deeply rooted in human psychology, and Kuchisake Onna is a perfect example of how our deepest fears can be channeled through chilling narratives. The psychology of fear is complex, but it can be distilled into a central idea. Fear is a primal response, a survival mechanism that alerts us to potential threats. However, in Kuchisake Onna's case, fear transcends instinct and becomes something more abstract, tied to social and emotional anxieties. The figure of Kuchisake Onna is particularly effective as a source of terror because it combines elements of the familiar and the unknown. Her initial appearance, masked and seemingly harmless, deceives those who encounter her. When her true form is revealed, the shock and horror are amplified, evoking fear of the unpredictable and the grotesque. This contrast between normality and abnormality is one reason she continues to haunt the collective imagination. Moreover, Kuchisake Onna's fatal question, "Am I beautiful?" touches on universal issues of validation and judgment. The fear of giving the wrong answer reflects the constant social pressure to conform to standards of beauty and behavior. This dynamic creates a unique psychological tension, where terror arises not only from the physical threat but also from the symbolic weight of the interaction. Another crucial aspect is her setting. Kuchisake Onna often appears in common places like residential streets or parks, locations that should feel safe. This intrusion of the supernatural into everyday contexts intensifies the fear, suggesting that danger can lurk anywhere, even in the most familiar environments. Finally, the fear associated with Kuchisake Onna is amplified by her tragic backstory. Knowing that she was a victim of violence and injustice creates a complex emotional connection between the audience and the terrifying figure. This element of empathy mixed with fear makes the experience richer and more unsettling. The figure of Kuchisake Onna has transcended Japanese folklore to become a notable element of global pop culture. Her distinctive traits, both visual and narrative, have allowed her to be incorporated into diverse media, from video games to animations and comics. expanding her impact beyond Japan's borders. This constant presence in cultural products reflects not only the strength of the legend, but also her ability to adapt to contemporary tastes and sensibilities. In anime and manga, Kuchisake Onna frequently appears as a direct reference or inspiration for characters and stories. Her iconic image is reinterpreted in various ways, sometimes emphasizing her monstrous side, other times exploring her personal tragedy. Video games have also embraced her legend. Many horror titles draw on elements derived from her tale, such as masked characters or scenarios based on tense interactions with fatal consequences. Additionally, the internet has played a fundamental role in solidifying her position in pop culture. Memes, videos, and fan art continue to introduce Kuchisake Onna to new generations, often adapting her to fit the humor or style of social media. This digital evolution keeps the legend alive and in constant transformation, reaching audiences who might never have encountered the original story. Kuchisake Onna's impact on pop culture is largely due to the universality of her themes. Fear, judgment, and the unknown are concepts that resonate with audiences across cultures. Thus, even when reinterpreted outside her original context, the essence of the legend continues to captivate and terrify. In contemporary Japan, urban legends continue to play a vital role in shaping the collective imagination and expressing societal anxieties. Kuchisake Onna, as one of the most iconic figures in this universe, exemplifies how legends adapt to modern times, reflecting the fears and tensions of each generation. Urban legends act as a form of communal storytelling, conveying lessons, warnings, and even social critiques. In Kuchisake Onna's case, her persistence in the popular imagination is tied to her ability to address universal issues such as fear of the unknown, pressure to conform to societal norms, and the consequences of violence. These stories not only entertain but also create a sense of connection among those who share them, especially in a society marked by rapid urbanization and technological changes. Moreover, urban legends in contemporary Japan often serve as a form of cultural resistance. In an increasingly globalized world, these stories help preserve unique elements of Japanese identity while simultaneously transforming to incorporate external influences. Kuchisake Onna, for instance, has been reinterpreted in various Western media, yet her roots remain firmly planted in Japanese culture. The relevance of urban legends is also fueled by technology. Online forums, social media, and messaging apps have become the new channels for transmitting these stories, allowing them to spread quickly and reach a global audience. This digital dissemination has also contributed to the creation of new legends and the revitalization of old myths, such as Kuchisake Onna, who has found new life on digital platforms. The role of urban legends in contemporary Japan goes beyond entertainment. They serve as a way to explore collective fears, question societal norms, and preserve cultural heritage in an ever-changing world. Kuchisake Onna, as one of the most emblematic protagonists in this context, continues to play a central role, connecting the past to the present and ensuring that the stories and the values they represent are never forgotten. Female figures in Japanese horror hold a powerful presence, laden with profound symbolism, often exploring the fear and fascination associated with the feminine. Kuchisake Onna is an iconic example of this phenomenon, embodying a duality between victim and aggressor, challenging and reflecting societal norms simultaneously. In Japan, stories of female ghosts and vengeful spirits, such as Oiwa from Yotsuya Kaiden or Sadako from The Ring, are deeply rooted in the culture. These figures often represent injustices or tragedies endured by women, and their return as supernatural entities serves as a potent metaphor for societal power imbalances. Kuchisake Onna, with her disfigured appearance and deadly question, carries similar elements, yet her impact goes beyond the typical archetype of a vengeful ghost. The disfigurement of Kuchisake Onna is central to her symbolism, reflecting societal pressures related to appearance and female beauty. The question, "Am I beautiful?" is both a challenge and a trap, exposing the fragility of beauty standards and the expectations imposed on women. This element of the legend resonates with contemporary anxieties about body image and social validation, making her timeless and relevant across different historical contexts. Furthermore, Japanese horror often uses female figures as a means to explore the impact of oppression and trauma. Kuchisake Onna can be seen as a manifestation of collective fears about gender-based violence and the consequences of silencing women's voices. Her transformation into a terrifying entity subverts the traditionally passive role of women, placing her in a position of power, albeit a frightening one. This chapter examines how Kuchisake Onna and other female figures in Japanese horror challenge conventions and reflect cultural tensions surrounding women's roles. These stories are not just entertainment. They are vehicles for social critique and cultural introspection, using fear as a tool to expose uncomfortable and universal truths. In the digital age, the legend of Kuchisake Onna has found new ways to spread and adapt. The internet has transformed how stories are told and shared, and Kuchisake Onna has thrived in this evolution. Social media, online forums, and user-generated video content have become the primary channels for perpetuating the legend, allowing it to reach a global audience. Kuchisake Onna has become a popular figure on creepypasta websites and in horror discussions on forums like Reddit. On these platforms, the legend has been reinterpreted and expanded, often gaining additional details that align with modern contexts. The question, "Am I beautiful?" has even become a meme, adapted across cultures and languages, showcasing the legend's versatility. The legend has a meme, adapted across cultures and languages, showcasing the legend's versatility. The legend has also gained prominence in visual media, such as YouTube and TikTok videos, where users recreate fictional encounters with Kuchisake Onna or analyze her story. This transition to visual formats not only keeps the legend alive, but also adapts it for new generations, ensuring its relevance persists over time. Video games have also played a significant role in modernizing Kuchisake Onna. Independent titles frequently use her as the basis for interactive horror narratives, exploring the tension of encounters with the character in frightening environments. This creates an immersive experience that reintroduces the legend to contemporary audiences in a unique way. The internet has enabled Kuchisake Onna to transcend Japan's borders, becoming a well-known figure in cultures worldwide. This globalization of the legend highlights its universality, demonstrating that the themes it addresses, fear, beauty, and mortality, are relatable and impactful across contexts. In this chapter, we explore how Kuchisake Onna has adapted to the digital age, showing that the internet not only preserves old legends, but also transforms them into something new and dynamic. Her story, which began in shadowy alleys, now traverses the vast and endless online universe, ensuring her voice echoes for generations to come. Over the decades, the legend of Kuchisake Onna has evolved, being retold and reimagined in various contexts. Beyond fictional representations, many modern accounts claim real-life encounters with the figure. These reports are frequently shared on horror forums, personal blogs, and social media videos, maintaining the connection between the myth and the real world. One of the most intriguing aspects of contemporary Kuchisake Onna tales is how they reflect modern societal anxieties. While older accounts often focused on encounters in deserted streets or remote villages, modern reports frequently place Kuchisake Onna in urban settings, such as subway stations or parks. This shift in setting symbolizes the fear of the unknown in spaces considered safe and familiar. Reports of encounters with Kuchisake Onna typically follow a similar pattern. The masked figure appears, posing her fatal question. However, modern variations add new elements to the story. For instance, in some versions, she uses technology to lure her victims, sending mysterious messages or appearing in video apps. These contemporary details help keep the legend relevant, adapting it to the fears and experiences of today's audience. Beyond accounts of direct encounters, there are also stories exploring the psychological impact of the legend. Some people report having recurring dreams about Kuchisake Onna after hearing her story, while others describe sensing her presence during vulnerable moments. These reports suggest that Kuchisake Onna is not merely a figure of folklore, but a deeply rooted symbol of fear within the collective psyche. In this chapter, we delve into modern tales and reports about Kuchisake Onna, exploring how they expand and enrich the legend. Each story, whether real or fictional, contributes to the ongoing legacy of Kuchisake Onna, reaffirming her place as one of the most iconic and terrifying figures in Japanese and global imagination. Kuchisake Onna is not just a frightening character from Japanese urban legends, but also a reflection of broader psychological and social issues. Her story, marked by violence, pain, and transformation, connects to universal themes that resonate deeply with audiences, transcending immediate horror to explore deeper fears and anxieties. From a psychological perspective, Kuchisake Onna represents the impact of trauma. The mutilation she suffered and her subsequent transformation into a vengeful figure can be seen as metaphors for the psychological scars left by abuse and violence. This aspect of the legend suggests a survival and retribution mechanism, where internal suffering manifests externally in a terrifying way. In many cases, she personifies the fear of the unknown and unresolved trauma, inviting audiences to confront these emotions within the safe space of storytelling. Socially, Kuchisake Onna reflects cultural norms and pressures on women, particularly regarding beauty and acceptance. The central question of the legend, "Am I beautiful?" encapsulates societal expectations of conformity to beauty standards, while her subsequent violence challenges these same norms. She exposes the fragility of a society that values appearance over character and human dignity. Furthermore, Kuchisake Onna can be interpreted as a symbol of resistance against oppression. Her vengeance against those who attempt to judge her reflects a refusal to submit to social control or imposed expectations. This perspective positions her as a paradoxically empowering figure, challenging the boundaries between victim and villain. In this chapter, we explore how Kuchisake Onna serves as a lens through which we can examine complex psychological and social issues. Her story is not just about fear, but also about resistance, transformation, and the depths of the human condition. Analyzing these layers reinforces the relevance of the legend in the modern world, where the challenges she symbolizes remain as present as ever. The legend of Kuchisake Onna has transcended time and space, solidifying itself as one of the most impactful stories in Japanese folklore. From its origins as a chilling tale whispered in dark alleys to its global presence in the digital age, Kuchisake Onna has evolved, adapting to cultural and social changes over the decades. Her enduring relevance is deeply rooted in her universality. Kuchisake Onna explores fears and anxieties that transcend cultures: the terror of the unknown, the pressure to conform to societal norms, the struggle against oppression, and the need to find meaning amidst chaos. These themes resonate not only in Japan, but also around the world, ensuring that her story continues to fascinate and terrify future generations. Moreover, Kuchisake Onna is a powerful reminder of the role stories play in our lives. They not only entertain, but also help us understand our fears, desires, and societies. Through her many reinterpretations, Kuchisake Onna reflects our own transformations as individuals and communities, acting as a mirror of our complexities. As new versions of the legend continue to emerge, her core remains unchanged, a figure that challenges us to confront what we fear and question the norms we accept. Kuchisake Onna is not just a horror story. She is a representation of the human condition in all its vulnerability and strength. In this video, I sought to celebrate the legacy of Kuchisake Onna as a timeless figure whose impact transcends fear to become an essential part of cultural fabric. Her story will continue to be told, reinvented, and lived, keeping alive the flame of one of the most powerful and enduring myths in history.